Hey, Creative Writing. I hope you had a nice long weekend. It is now Tuesday, May 5th, 2020. Today I'm going to be introducing your big project of this trimester of virtual learning. And just so that you are aware, we are going to be breaking this short story down step by step. You're going to have plenty of writing days, plenty of work days. They are not going to be due until May 26th, to give you an idea. So lots of time because I'm still respecting that 15, 20 minutes a day. And for writing, that could mean that you get a paragraph done. That could mean that you get a page done. That could mean that you stare at your screen with writer's block. So I'm fully respecting that. Yeah, so that's what we're doing today. To share a side note of my own being in this virtual learning process, it's Monday as I'm recording this. I wanted to just relate to you a little bit so that you know that we are all humans in this experience. Today I woke up and I was like, oh man, I slept so well. I didn't even need my alarm to wake up. That was amazing. And then I looked at my phone and I had overslept by about 2 hours and missed two meetings. And so I had failed at like doing what I was supposed to be doing and staying on task and staying in my routine. But what I did is I just emailed one of my admin and explained what happened and was just like, honestly, not a great excuse. Alarm didn't go off. End of story. And they were totally cool. And then we were able to communicate what I had to do to get caught up. So I just want to prove to you that like we're not all perfect. This is challenging for all of us, but communication is the solution. So that was me oversleeping. I still haven't really become a human being today, but so far so good. All right, tangent aside, we're going to talk about short stories. So what is a short story? There's a few different definitions of what a short story is. A short piece of prose fiction having few characters and aiming at unity of effect. A shaft driven straight into the heart of the human experience. An account of a character struggling to reach a goal. What you see when you look out the window. A dramatic event that involves a person because he is a person, and a particular person that is because he shares in the general human condition and in some specific human situation. All over the map, but a short story is just that. It's a short story. There is conflict, there is some form of resolution, there are characters who have arcs. Everything that we've been learning in this class so far, you are condensing into a short story. So let's keep it simple. A short story must not be susceptible to summary and find the general in the particular. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that if it's a good story, you can't just summarize it. The details matter. Being immersed in the story and in the writing is what makes it good. All right, so that means we're avoiding cliches, we're avoiding archetypes, we're avoiding stereotypes, and we are playing with all the things that we've learned so far and being as detailed as possible. Once again, looking at our classic story arc, our triangle here, this is typically going to be how a story is structured. If you've never written a story before, this is the best and easiest way to structure it. Longer stories are going to have this rising and falling action happening throughout the entire novel until you hit that climactic moment, and then you resolve. But in a short story, you probably should really only have one climax, just simply because you don't want to overwhelm your reader and you want to feel like that climactic moment is deserved. So let's look at this example. We've got the swimmer, our dude who swam across all those swimming pools to get home, and then we figured out that he wasn't a reliable narrator. So I want you to think to yourself, if we're looking at the typical story arc that we have here, what in the swimmer was the exposition? Okay, so where did we learn about our man, our swimmer, and Ned? Ned, yes. And what was going on in his life? When did we start seeing some conflict start to pop up? When did we know that like things were getting more intense? Maybe things were getting more confusing. When did we hit our climax, that biggest moment of drama, and then how did it end? Okay, a bomb didn't go off. All right. There wasn't some crazy magical moment. There was, though, a moment where we started to realize this guy doesn't know what's going on. He's fighting with his ex-lover. It's cold, it's fall. He seems drunk or confused. All of those emotions came at this climactic moment, and then we realized that he sold his house. All right. So every story has these, even if they're subtle. Is that the only way to structure a story? No, of course not. There are no rules to writing, all right? You just have to make sure it works. So the earthquake model is more of that kind of up and down, and then eventually there's going to be this big moment and a resolution when the earthquake is over. But for a short story, it is easier to do that rising action. I recommend that. So to epiphany or not to epiphany, people love epiphanies. It's a good way to kind of get to that climactic moment. Maybe they're trying to solve a mystery and then it all clicks, it all comes together. If done really well, it's super fun. Sometimes, though, they can become a little bit cliche or feel undeserved. So just make sure that if you're going to include something like that to get your action moving, you do it well. Is change necessary? Round characters need to exist. Do they need to change? It depends. All right. A lot of times it's important to remember that, like, not every bad guy becomes a good guy, right? Not everybody learns their lesson and becomes a better person or, becomes the hero. That's not real. A lot of times somebody tries to teach me a lesson because they're upset with me, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going to learn anything from this because we're stubborn. Human beings are stubborn. All right. So don't worry about creating some sort of like happy ending where everything comes together and your characters learn a lesson and blah, 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 blah. This isn't a kid's story. This is a short story. Okay. So change and arc is important in terms of having your characters not feel like cliches or that they're flat, but don't think you need to bring them to some epiphany, beautiful moment of character development where they discover morality. That's a cliche too. Moral of the story. Don't be constrained by theories and templates. You know what makes a good story, write one. What do you enjoy reading? What do you enjoy watching? That is what makes a good story. We're learning, so it's okay to keep the training wheels on. All these things, these different structures and strategies that I've taught you, feel free to use all of them. It's still going to create a really good story because it's your story. Okay? But just don't feel obligated to stay within my constraints. This is creative writing. I encourage you to be creative. I don't care what you send me as long as it's clear that you are thinking creatively and trying something new. So this is the assignment for the short stories. It needs to be 1,000 or more words, typed, double-spaced, and revised. We'll be planning and drafting this together day by day. So you'll have a task each day to put your story together. And it's going to be due on May 26th. Many of the days coming up are going to just straight up be work days where you get to set aside 15 minutes. I might ask you a question like, hey, what'd you work on today? And you have to answer that for attendance, but there's going to be some flexibility to it. We're nearing the end. I know that this is getting long and hard, and I respect that and I relate to that. So just know that I just really want you to have this experience of getting to start a project and finish. So this is your assignment today. You can just do this in your journal, and then you'll be building off of this. So I want you to brainstorm a minimum of 3 plot summaries that you think would be fun to expand on to turn into a short story. Remember to be creative and do not censor yourself. Examples of what a plot summary is. Notice that they are very short. This is not a long assignment. First plot summary. A boy who struggles for acceptance at his school tries everything to impress his dream girl and convince her to go out on a date. Summary. Second, when a lost dog shows up on their doorstep, it teaches a family a lesson about what's truly important in life. When the dog's real owners show up to claim their pet, the family has a choice to make. Simple, effective. You at least have a very, very short outline of what your story might do. So think about what you'd like to write about, use the prompts that we've written so far to inspire you, and come up with these 3 plot summaries. You do not need to turn them in at this point, but I will start collecting some of your drafting soon. Okay? Okay. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.